Hello and welcome back to my tutorial videos. Today I'm going to be going over this contraption behind me, which is a Shulker Box Loader. Now if you've watched my videos previously, you'll probably know that I've already done one of these, but I wasn't happy with the quality or the length of that video. So I'm going to try and keep this one a bit more concise. Now what we have here is not a very basic circuit, but something that you'll need to know if you want to make a Shulker Box Loader. This will take all of your items and fill them into a shulker box. So our basic main circuit here is this comparator measuring what's inside this hopper, sending its signal on through this light blue block, light blue concrete. I use that just so that the redstone shows up easily. You can use whatever building block you'd like as long as it's a solid block and not a transparent block. So it will send the signal through, and it will power both this redstone and this redstone, which will power this piston and move this observer back, which will observe that something changed, and it will power this block, which will power this repeater, which we have on a full 4 ticks of delay. And I'll show you real quickly what we're talking about with ticks of delay. This is considered 1, left click for 2, 3, 4 ticks of delay. All this does is stretch the signal out so that the signal lasts longer. It will be on for longer, which this observer will observe, power this block, depower this torch, and when the torch turns back on at the end of this signal's duration, this will be powered. This dispenser will dispense these shulker boxes directly in front of it. This button is only for us so that when there's a hiccup or something that we have to unjam, you push the button, and as soon as the power comes back on that torch, it dispenses the shulker box. So this is a really easy circuit. It looks very complicated. It's not. You can do this. And I will walk you through how we're going to do this in a moment. First things first, let's show you how this works. We'll place this here. You can see that our blocks of netherite are being hoppered down, but we have no shulker box to load at the moment. Ta-da! Once this comparator got enough signal from that hopper, it activated the whole thing. This box is going to be full of our empty shulker boxes. And in the future, I do plan to show you how to make a shulker farm, which is necessary to power something like a shulker box loader. So I don't want to waste a ton of time here. But as you can see, while there are items inside this, you can see that items are passing through, and they're passing through here, though the game isn't updating it as quickly. They are going to the shulker box, so you can be assured of that. Coming out of this one. Now, this is just here to represent the output from a farm. You could have a whole line of hoppers that are feeding into that hopper. You could use a water feed or a water stream to feed your items and have the flow going that way. Over there is a shulker box unloader, but I'll talk about that in a second video just because the original video was just about twice as long as my normal, so we'll keep it to 1 per video. And I realize this is very end game content. Like I said, I'll show you how to make a shulker box farm, or a shulker shell farm anyways. And then that way, you'll be able to have one of these in your world. They're really not that difficult, and once you get one set up, they take a lot of AFKing because it takes a while, but you'll have all kinds of storage possibilities with this. So how we get started is we're going to start from the back this time and place down this white concrete block. Now, I'm using this because this doesn't have anything to do with any of the circuits. It's just something for this piston to sit on. That's a sticky piston. It has to be sticky so that it keeps the observer attached to itself as it extends and retracts. Now, sticky pistons and pistons are going to be facing at us when we place them. An observer faces away from us when we place them. You want the signal coming from right here. And that part's complete already. Now, we need a chest and 3 hoppers feeding into that chest. So we'll place the chest. 1, 2, 3 hoppers. And make sure that I point this the right direction. You want your signal to be pointing towards the chest. I'll back up a little. You can see the arrow. There's something of an arrow on our repeaters. You want that pointed towards the chest. Whoop. There we go. So we have to crouch place, and then you also have to crouch. Whoop. 1, 2, 3 for all 4 ticks of delay on this. Once again, our observers are looking away from us. Shift click to place that. Oop. We're going to need our light blue concrete for this. Place that. We can deal with the button and the torch in just a few minutes. First things that we want to do is place right to the very back of that repeater. You can use a temporary block down here if you need to, if you're playing on console instead of computer. I really do prefer the mouse and keyboard setup, as that's what I've been doing for years on Minecraft. However, I still play on my Nintendo Switch as well, so take that as you will. It's less convenient, but it's Minecraft, so who cares? So atop our observer, we have a white concrete. That's because this thing's only job is to hold up redstone for us. It doesn't actually participate in the circuit like these other ones do. Now, we have our dispenser, which will point towards us as we place it. And then we have hopper. We're going to have to place a temporary block on the front of the dispenser. Hopper and hopper. Get rid of that. And then I need... Oh, right. We need our one last piston. And the piston will have its business end pointed at you. And place that there. That activates to break the shulker box after it gets placed. When it's fully loaded, our comparator will figure that out, and it will activate that piston to break the shulker box, and it will drop down here. Now, there is a bit of an issue where you may need to build up some walls so that your shulker boxes don't fly off to the side. It is possible that you could build numerous loaders right next to each other, and then you may end up with an issue where a box or two of the wrong item ends up in the wrong chest. In that case, there's not a lot you can do about that. It's impossible to account for how your item is going to fly once broken. But beyond that, you could build walls outside of it. That will help if you're only building one of these. Other than that, that's the build right there. You will need a box, and then you can use, as we discussed a moment ago, a, a water a water flow or item flow in water, or you can use hoppers to feed this hopper. This is the item input, this here at the very top. And then this one is going to be for your empty shulker boxes. You could use a minecart or a hopper minecart that collects everything, runs over a rail here, feeds everything into this system. Something that this will do is take a partially full box and completely fill it up. So if you were to have a box, because I placed the torch there, it activated the dispenser. Now you won't be able to look in this box as it's placed because it has no space to open to. Um, what what ends up happening, and here is where you can very much break this system, is putting too much into this hopper first, because then your comparator will have too much signal and it will activate your piston too early. So be sure that you don't put anything into this hopper manually. You can put all of it that you want. Any amount of signal is enough to get started. You can see these redstone dusts are sparking or smoldering, whatever you want to call that. And once this box gets full, it will back up this hopper just enough that the signal is enough to activate this piston, which then, as you know, or as we discussed, pushes this observer, which observes the change, powers this block, powers this repeater, and then the observer sees that, powers this block, depowers the torch, and when the torch comes back on at the end of duration, fires another shulker box into place. So I'm going to linger right here for a moment so you can see what's going on. I'm not going to sit here and wait for it to finish up its job. You can do that in your worlds if you want. I don't want to say I guarantee that it'll work, because then Bedrock will make a liar out of me. But there you have it. That is a Shulker Box Loader. You can take and place, if you've watched my earlier videos, you can take and build a bit of a hopper tower, and then just as a mock-up right here, build yourself one of those fancy item sorters that I've taught you how to build as well. Just make sure you give yourself enough height that your circuit up here is not going to mess with your redstone down there, and you'll be just fine. So you could take from a farm that gets many different items, like a monster farm or a raid farm, and have everything come down a hopper line like so. It'll come this way, feed into here, get sorted, and you could have numerous shulker box loaders all in a row filling up boxes of the same item. So if you were getting so many totems of undying that you needed a shulker box loader, have at it, man. Go nuts. Enjoy. I hope this comes in useful for your worlds, and if you like this video, please subscribe. Please throw it a thumbs up. Anything that you want to do. I appreciate you stopping by. I'm glad to know that my videos are helping people. And with that, White Sun Paladin is out.